Hello, welcome in and welcome back to my channel. My name is Deb from DG Reads, and it is time for another procrastination project. If you're not familiar with my procrastination project, basically I have an issue with getting to books that have been on my shelves for far too long, which I'm sure is relatable to no one. But one of my strategies that I've been doing for quite a while is to use my Libby holds, my library book, digital book holds, to help prompt me to pick up some of my older books. So I put holds through Libby for the audiobooks for many of my books that are on my shelf. And as those holds come in, I have to contemplate them, pick one of them, and read them. I have had a lot of great success getting to books that I kick myself for not getting to sooner in the series, so I really enjoy doing it. Now, when Libby changed their hold system to where you have to suspend it instead of hitting that deliver later button, that changed things up a little bit. So when I start one of these projects, what I do is go through and unsuspend a whole bunch of holds so that things can come in kind of randomly and we can pick something. For August, I am participating in ARC August. This is brought to us by Read with Dr. B, and obviously a procrastination project doesn't immediately bring ARCs to mind for ARC August, but I am on Team Ivory Illusions, which is hosted by Monica on Monica's Shelves and Ivy at Ivy the Geek Goddess. And one of the bonus prompts that this team has is to read new to you authors. So what I've done is I've gone through all of my Libby holds and unsuspended the ones from authors I haven't read before. And I figured that would be a nice way to get some bonus points for my team and also get to some of the books in my procrastination list. So without further ado, we are going to pull up the list. Okay, and we're going to make this quick because my battery is low. So, screen record. Okay, right off the bat, we have The Salvation Gambit. This is by Emily. I cannot read the last name, but that's okay. This is one of these books that's been on my shelf for quite a while, and I keep bypassing it because I don't remember what it is or what it's about, but the color keeps catching my eye. So, I'm guessing it's maybe sci-fi or fantasy. That's really all I can tell you. Schrader's Chord by Scott Leeds. This is a horror, I believe. The skull on the cover is giving me that, related to music. I truly forget a lot. Oh, okay. And then we've got The Helm of Midnight by Marina Lostetter. This one, I know it says the hold's ready after 11 weeks. That's because my last hold lapsed and I had to re-put it on hold. I have been wanting to get to this one for ages. I got it as a gift for my birthday several years back now, and I've seen people love it on here. I know Maeve at Maeve Ever Reading has encouraged me to get to it because I keep saying that I want to. So I feel like that has to be the move. So let me grab it. All right. So this is the book. What I remember of it, it is fantasy, but with horror elements, I believe. It says Hannibal meets Mistborn in Marina Lostetter's The Helm of Midnight, the dark and stunning first novel in a new trilogy that combines the intricate world building and rigorous magic system of the best of epic fantasy with a dark and chilling thriller. This sounds exactly like the type of thing that I'm eager for right now. It's not short, but also it's not the worst either. So I think it's a reasonable length. Yes, this was a birthday gift to me from my aunt in 2022. So it's about time I get to this one. So I'm going to get going. I'm really excited for this one, and I will bring you thoughts along the way. Okay, I look a mess. I just got back from taking Kylie from a walk. It's only 9 a.m., but it's already just so humid outside. It's a little bit ridiculous. So I'm ready to get my iced coffee, sit on the patio. But first I wanted to give you an update because I did do some audiobooking while we were walking, and I am now at 52% in this book. I have not figured out where exactly that is page count wise since I just got back, but I'm having a good time with this one. It definitely has all the world building I want out of it. This is set in a world where magic can be stowed and knowledge can be stowed and feelings can be stowed in masks. And masks are this traded commodity in this world. Also, you trade on time. Time is something that can be put into vials and traded as currency. And I'm finding that concept just so fascinating. fascinating in here and how it's being done. And we're getting bits and pieces of how the whole currency works, like the fact that they take time from every baby as a baby, like the tax to the world kind of a thing. And there's just so many interesting world building elements in here. We start off, we're following Crona, and she's the one from the synopsis. And Crona's working this event. It's like a museum type event. There are masks on display, like old ancient ones. When people die, or I don't know if you can do it prematurely to death, but their knowledge and their self almost can go into these masks. So there is a mask there for like a serial killer, and you know that needs to be kept good and locked up. Crona is a guard. She's working this event, but then things go awry. The mask of the serial killer is taken, and now there's been killings kind of in this killer's fashion happening throughout the city. So in Crona's POV, that's what we're investigating with her. Now, what I didn't realize, because the synopsis doesn't talk about this at all, is we have this whole other storyline happening, and it's almost more of the book than Crona's portions. And we're following Melanie, and she's in a timeline 2 years previous. She's a young woman. Her mother, who is her only person, has this wasting disease that causes your muscles and your strength to all waste away. It's a terminal disease. No one knows how to cure it, but she knows of this doctor, or has heard rumors of this past doctor, who had a way of curing this. And so she's desperate. She's scraping together all the time she possibly can to rent the mask from this doctor to hopefully be able to find a cure for her mother. And this sets off a whole chain of events. We learn very quickly in here that masks are dangerous for various reasons, and we're exploring kind of a different reason in her POV. We also have Lewis's POV from 10 years previous. And currently my one confusion with this book is how these pieces are all going to tie together. Lewis is the one who had the mayhem mask that's been stolen in the most present day, I guess I would call it, Crona's POV. So we're getting a little bit of his POV as well. And I'm really enjoying the different storylines in here. I am, however, kind of wanting to know a little more about how they're going to tie together. So far, world building in this one, absolutely loving that. The mystery element of this, I feel like it could be punched up a little bit more, but I think that's because it's only happening in one of the POVs really. And I'm curious about Lewis as well. And I do really like Melanie and her storyline. So I am overall having a great time with this one. It's taking me a little bit longer to get through, just I've had a busy weekend. And originally I was planning to binge this whole thing this weekend, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen. I have a few things going on today. I'm picking my dad up at the airport this evening and having dinner with him, and I have a watch along happening this morning and possibly this afternoon. So there's a lot going on today. I always overestimate how much I will get done on a Sunday, but I am eager to go get my iced coffee and some iced water. Kylie's ready to settle. She had a fun walk, got to see one of her buddies that she hadn't seen in a while, and met some cats she got to growl at. It was fun times for her. So anyway, I'm going to keep reading, and I will check back in with you probably in a day or two would be my guess. Good morning. Kylie and I are about to go out for a walk, but I did want to give you an update because I did finish up Helm of Midnight. And like I said, it did take me a couple more days. This one wasn't a huge multitasking book for me. I needed to pay a little bit more attention with all the different storylines and characters going on in here, or different timelines. They do all come together very satisfyingly by the end of this. There are some consequences to things going on. There are some losses, and I did feel for our characters in those moments, and I appreciated that I was connected enough to them to feel those moments. This does kick off a trilogy, and I think it did a good job of feeling like a contained book and coming to answers at the end of it, but also leaving room to expand and grow and move on to the next book, which I definitely do want to pick up. I am hoping to put together another series priority list for myself soon, and I do think I would like to get this one on there to hopefully get to very soon in order to finish it off. So I really think this book stands out for its world building. In particular, I really found the masks and the different gems they have and how those interact with people in different moments, and the idea of it using time as currency and files of minutes and needles drawing time out and all these different things, and this magic system that our characters don't entirely understand, but there is a rhyme and reason to it, and they are figuring it out as they go along. Part of the magic system they don't understand, let me clarify that, because they do know parts of it, but there are things that come up throughout the course of the book that no one really knows or understands, and that exploration was really interesting. So overall, this one's getting a really, really strong 4-star, 4.5 star, I think even. It wasn't quite a 5-star because there were moments where I just felt like it was taking me too long in the beginning to really catch on to which timeline was which and exactly getting as invested, not knowing how they were going to connect together in the end. And I do think that was intentional. It was a lot of setup. That's not uncommon for the first book in a series in a new world, that it just takes me a little bit longer to get into. But by the end, I was fully invested. So this one could have been verging on a 5 in some ways too. So very, very strong start to the books we're picking for this vlog, but it does mean we get to pick another book. Okay, so screen recording. Let's see what Libby has for us. Two Truths and a Lie. This is by Corey O'Brien. This is one that's definitely been on my shelf for a while. Holds ready after 51 weeks, including 3 suspensions. I know I almost picked this for a TBR at one point, and I didn't get to it, so it's intriguing for that. They Call Her Regret. This is by Chanel Desamore. This is a gifted copy I know I got from a publisher. I'd have to check the book to confirm that, but this one's been on my shelf for a while, and I am about to start an epic fantasy just on the side from this, so I feel like going kind of a horror thriller route could be the smart move. And then I also have on Sunday She Picked Flowers. This is by Yaya Schofeld, and this one again is another horror that is really intriguing. I've been hearing good things about it. I haven't had it quite as long, so it doesn't feel quite as much like a procrastination book because I've been actively kind of trying to get to it, but oh, I got 3 good options. I don't think Two Truths and a Lie is the move right now. I think that's sci-fi and possibly a little bit of a heavier read or more focus needed read. I don't know, that's just me going off first impressions. And then of the other two, I feel like They Call Her Regret's been procrastinated more, so I think I'm going to go with that one, largely because I don't remember all that much about it. So let me grab it. Okay, yes, it is a gifted copy I received from Wednesday Books because they also sent me stickers. I don't know if that's focusing, but they sent me some fun stickers with it and a little card that says, "You're invited to Simone's Halloween birthday bash. You will have fun. You will feel fear. Time after the varsity football game. Location Doll's Head Lake." And there's a party playlist with it as well, which is fun. And the little blurb that they sent with the book says, "It's a speculative mystery where a teen must find a way to free a cursed witch in order to save her best friend before time runs out." So that's all I really know going into it. So we've got a little bit of a horror element, I think, but mystery, speculative. Sounds really intriguing. It's not super long. I obviously have the audiobook, so I think this is going to be a win. I'm excited to check it out, and we'll see. Okay, we're off to a good start because I am exactly halfway through They Call Her Regret, and so far I am having fun with this. I think it is an easy read. It is what I expect from a YA horror. It's not too teenage angsty, but there's definitely some of that going on, etc. So the story in here, we have Simone, who is our main character, and she is a senior along with her friends, and Halloween is coming up, and she loves Halloween. She loves doing things with her friends that will scare you and is really looking forward to the holiday. From a former friend's blog, she learns about this local legend, this local lore about Doll's Head Lake. And there is meant to be a woman who haunts it, and people make doll sacrifices to her in order to survive the lake or something along those lines. And she doesn't really want this guy to know that she saw his blog and that she follows it religiously. So instead of making it the Halloween party where she knows he'll be attending, she decides to set up a little party. And it just so happens to be her birthday in this month leading up to Halloween. So they make it a post-homecoming Halloween themed birthday overnight cabin trip. Her friend's brother-in-law has a connection to the lake, to a property near the lake they can use. She has plans to scare her friends and lots going on. It all is going really well until she meets this apparition at the lake. And this woman finds her in a very weak moment when something horrible has happened to her best friend, and she makes a deal. It's a horrible deal, but it's a deal that she does to save her best friend. The thing is, she needs to figure out how to release this woman from the lake, from being tied to the lake within a certain amount of time, or else what has happened to her best friend will go back to what Simone is trying to avoid. And there's a very strict timeline with this. There is a sense of urgency with the decisions she's making, with the need to save her friend, and I think all of that is playing up quite well. She, of course, goes back to this guy who had written the blog post because he's, the only other person who has some knowledge of this lake and the lore surrounding it, and there's a relationship there that has complications from the past and the present, so that's being explored a little bit here as well. There's a lot lot of grief type of things going on in here. There are some dark consequences to what's going on in here. And ultimately, I am pulling for Simone and interested to see what she's going to find out. I think the choice that she had to make was an interesting one. It's one that would be really hard to do, but also at the same time, you understand why she made it. And this situation she's put herself into is definitely a difficult one. So I got through the first half of this really, really quickly today, and I am assuming once I get back into it, it'll be a very quick book to finish up. So I am going to get going. I am doing a little bit of other reading on the side of this. I do have some priorities that I need to finish first, but I am really looking forward to getting back into Regret. Okay, I finished up They Call Her Regret, and I had a good time with this. It wasn't a blow me away type of read, but I think the kind of concept of this woman in the lake, the idea of what are your biggest regrets in life, the uncovering of what some of the regrets in life are in here, and we do get more reveals about our main character, about things from her past that maybe even she hasn't wanted to face, and things about her family and about her relationships. And I'm not sure ultimately if kind of the big bad reveal at the end really felt grounded in the text, like we had enough clues to get there. But maybe we did. Maybe I just didn't pick up on some of it. So I did wonder about that a little bit. I think there's definitely some themes of misunderstanding and miscommunication that are coming up in here, but in realistic ways, as much as a speculative horror mystery book can be realistic. And there were a couple things, like there was one thing that we find out at the end that our main character is going to do that I kind of wish we had been able to see play out a little bit more on page. But overall, I still had a good time with this one. I think we're landing at a 3.5. I liked our main character. I liked her determination. Still not sure I 100% agree with all her decisions, but overall I had a good time and I'm glad that I picked this one up. So with that, it is time to figure out another book for our procrastination project. So I am screen recording, and first off, okay, we've got Hamajang Luck. This is my Makana Yamamoto, actually on my TBR for this month. So this one would be helping me out. This would be getting me a step ahead on my TBR this month. It's also definitely a book I've put off multiple times. I've almost read it before multiple times. So I feel like that's a contender. Elantris I'm already reading, so we skip over those. Aftertaste, oh, that one's right here. Aftertaste by Daria Lavelle. This one I have almost selected for multiple vlogs. I had multiple polls that I did in one particular vlog, and this one kept being second place every single time. So that kind of makes me want to get to it more, but it's not on my TBR this month. And then I've got This Gilded Abyss by Rebecca Thorne. And that one has me intrigued from the cover. It's been on my shelf for a little while, but not that long actually. I don't think it's relatively newer on my shelf, so I feel like maybe that's not the move. Okay, I feel like Hamajang Luck, that has to be the move. It's definitely been procrastinated. It's definitely one that I have put off multiple times, that I haven't gotten to multiple times, and I mean it's sitting right here. And this is the Illumicrate edition of it, and it says 8 misfits, 2 exes, 1 last heist. This is a January 2025 book. I pulled a prompt for it that a plot involved a heist and I did not get to it. So it's literally been on my TBR and I've not gotten to it. It says it's Ocean 8 meets Blade Runner in this trailblazing debut science fiction novel and swashbuckling love letter to Hawaii about being forced to find a new home and striving to build a better one. We're following Edie. She's done with crime, 8 years behind bars, changes a person, costs them too much time with too many of the people that need them the most, and it's all Angel's fault. She sold Edie out in what would have been the greatest moment of their lives. Instead, Edie was shipped off to the icy prison planet to spend the best part of a decade alone, but then a chance for early parole appears, and Angel is waiting with an offer, one last job, one last deal, one last target. So it's finally time. It's finally time to read this one. I think it's only appropriate. So hopefully, after putting it off for so long, this one will be a win. What you doing? You inspecting? She's inspecting my poorly put together blocking boards. Okay, in true procrastination fashion, I procrastinated giving you an update on this book. So I'm actually back with final thoughts because I did not stop midway to give you thoughts. And that's because I put on Hamajang Luck by Makana Yamamoto onto audiobook as I was laying down last night. And I listened to a little bit while I was up and about and crocheting and so forth. And then I decided I just would lay down and listen to it for a while. And I just kind of zoned out listening to it, which on the one hand is a good sign that I was enjoying it enough to just keep going. But also it had more to do with the fact that I was just exhausted last night and was just happy to be laying there playing a little bit on my phone, petting Kylie, listening to the book. Before I realized it, we were at 85%. So I listened to like the last 15% this morning after I got up and again was laying in bed. So I did not get up and provide you with midway thoughts. So in this book, we're following Edie. Edie is a non-binary trans masculine character, and they were doing some slightly shady things in life. They were having some success until their girlfriend Angel turned on them and they got caught and sent to prison. And now they're getting out of prison. And this has them really surprised that when they walk out with no way to get home, no instructions, no anything, to find Angel sitting there waiting for them. And Angel apparently pulled some strings, got them out a little bit early, and has kind of made more of a legitimate life for herself at this point in time. But she wants to enlist Edie for one last heist. Edie says absolutely not, walks away, we're done. Until Edie gets home and she's staying with her sister. Her sister's a single mom at this point and struggling to make ends meet, and realizes that maybe one last heist would give them what they need to survive in life, and eventually gets roped back into it. We have romance ensuing, we have a complicated relationship from that because obviously this is someone who got them sent to jail for a while, and a lot of complicated feelings about the risks of getting involved in something criminal again. She's staying with a woman who's trying to keep custody of her children, and that's a problem if this becomes an issue. And Angel was a friend of her sister in addition to being Edie's girlfriend in the past, and that's complicated as well. So there's a lot of overlapping issues in here. I think one of my issues with this is I kept forgetting we are actually set in space. This was a space prison, but we don't really get to see much of that. I thought from the synopsis maybe we'd see a really cool prison ice. The synopsis talks about the icy prison planet spinning far below the soaring sky bridges and neon catacombs of the Kepler space station of home. And I felt like we didn't get a lot of the setting out of this. I didn't get fully invested in the heist. I didn't get fully invested in the characters. Everything was just fine. It was entertaining. It was an easy read. It was easy to just kind of quickly fly through, but I didn't feel like the setting really landed what it could have been or anything along those lines. So ultimately this one is getting a 3, maybe a 3.5 if I put more thought into it. I just finished this 20 minutes ago, but yeah, it unfortunately wasn't a huge win for me, and that's a disappointment, especially since I've been, meaning to get to this one for so long. But I'm glad that I finally got to it. So I do have one thing to make up for the fact that I was slow on getting updates for you on this vlog. Since we are working on procrastination in terms of our reading projects, I thought maybe I should at least get to a project I've been procrastinating in my crochet life. So I had finished a blanket I'd been working on for quite some time. It was a crochet along, and then I was out of town for part of it. And then the last step, the finishing steps, took me a lot longer than they were meant to, just because I was moving slow. Possibly my hand and the fact that I have an injured or damaged or not quite working right thumb at the moment does not help matters with some of the types of crochet that I'm doing, and the attaching edges together seems to be one of the ones that tends to aggravate a little bit more. So it took me a while. And then I got to the point where all I had to do was do the blocking for it. I needed to get it really wet. I needed to stretch it out. I needed to pin it out. But to find enough space in my house that was clear enough to put blocking boards down where Kylie also couldn't get to it, because I would worry if I wasn't here with her that she would investigate the pins and stuff. So I kept procrastinating. But this weekend I did indeed get to it. I soaked it for a good hour. I stretched it out. I made room on the spare bed in the room with all my books, and we got it all stretched out and ready to go, and it is indeed done. So let me see if I can back up a little bit here, and here it is. Ready, set, and boom. So I'm very thrilled that it is indeed done. I really love the design, the color combo, the everything, and it is just a lot of fun. So I got something procrastinating done. I really should probably get to one more procrastination project where I just need to wet block again, but we'll see if I get to that in this vlog or not. But I'm excited that this is done. The wet blocking definitely made it a little bit more cozy. It's definitely a Lapghan kind of size to it. It's a fun round shape. I think this is going to live on the back of my sofa for a while just because I love the colors and it kind of works for me. So that's that. And then we we do need to pick another book. Had to find my phone. I covered it up there. Okay, since I had been planning to do Midway Thoughts and figured I'd unsuspend things at that point, I'm not sure what we will have. Hopefully, okay, we do have at least one option. So let me screen record. I was worried we might not have anything to pick from. So let's go ahead and see what we have. Okay, so starting off, we have The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle. This is an author I'm pretty sure I haven't read from before. It is on at least one of my bingo cards. It's from one of my book boxes, either Fairy Loot or Illumicrate, I don't remember. So that's an option, but I can already see what's next here. And that is Aftertaste. I have almost picked this so many times. I told myself last time I bypassed on it that if it came up again, I would take that. So I think that's really where we have to go. And then the third option is The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. This is by Rachel Joyce. This one I don't remember really anything about. I remember somebody recommending it. I had it in the back of my head and then I spotted it in a used bookstore, so I picked it up. But again, don't really remember. But I do think we need to go with Aftertaste because, yeah, I've just, that one truly has kept getting put off. So let's do that. Okay, so I've got Aftertaste by Darla Lavelle. The back on this Book of the Month copy at least says, a food story to binge, a ghost story to devour, a love story to savor. And the start of the blurb says that Constantine is a haunted man. His father died when he was 10 and ghosts have been hovering around him ever since. He can't exactly see the ghosts, but he can taste their favorite foods. Flavors of meals he's never eaten will flood his mouth, a sign that a spirit is present. He's kept these aftertastes a secret for most of his life, but one night he decides to act on what he's tasting and everything changes. So I've heard really good things about this one. I've heard a few mixed things about this one. I've been really excited to get to it, and now's the time. I made it exactly halfway into Aftertaste, which puts me somewhere in the middle of part 3 in this novel. And so far, a little bit mixed feelings, I think, with this one. Kylie is having her post-work rolling around on the carpet, so if you're hearing that, that's going on. We are following Kostya in this story, and we begin with him as a child, and his father used to test him on different flavors. He would put foods in his mouth with his eyes closed and make him name them, and he got really good at this, and this was a little game they played together. And when his father passes away when he's still really young, he notices that he can suddenly taste things he's never actually eaten before. And it takes him a while, but in time he begins to recognize that these tastes are coming out of someone's grief or someone's remembrance of someone that they've lost. And he realizes these are the flavors of these ghosts, these spirits' favorite meal, most memorable meal, something along those lines. As an adult, no one believes him. They really think he is having a mental breakdown as a child when he starts talking about what's going on with him. So he eventually learns to kind of hide this. As an adult, he is working just as a busboy or someone who cleans dishes in a bar, and a man just comes in after hours or 3 minutes before closing. No one else is there. And he gets the flavor of a cocktail, and he knows that this is the drink this man needs to drink. And he realizes in doing this that not only does the drink belong to a spirit attached to this man, the spirit actually shows up for the length of time that he's drinking this drink. And he realizes his ability is not only to taste the food and the flavor, but to know exactly how to produce the food or drink or whatever it may be, and also bring that person back for a short period of time. Let the person who's still among the living have a little bit of time to say goodbye, to process thoughts, to have a final moment that they missed out on perhaps. And this becomes his special ability. And I love the food tie-in of this. The idea of a food or a drink that ties you to someone that you have lost is an incredible concept. I like our main character for the most part, but there's some things about him that I'm not enjoying. He has a romantic relationship happening that's just kind of beginning, or it has been building up, but he's absolutely lying to her. And she's someone who knows his special ability, but she doesn't think he should use it. Meanwhile, on the side, he's working on ways to use it more and more. And I'm just not someone who enjoys miscommunication or intentional miscommunication in relationships in a book. We also have a situation where he's lost someone and he's making some decisions on whether or not he should use his ability in that sense. And I'm debating how I'm feeling about his potential choices there. So I'm really intrigued to see what the ultimate goal of this book is going to be. I'm enjoying the fact that there's like these in-between between passages where we're getting like a news article almost about this man's history in creating this supper club, and a tour, a food tour, and little things like that that add a little bit of a like mixed media almost element to it, which I'm enjoying. I really enjoy the fact that like all the chapter headings are like savory, sweet, sour, different things that tie into the whole food theme of the book. Like, I really think this is well put together, so I am enjoying it. I just am not immediately obsessed with it like I know a lot of people seem to be. So we're gonna keep going on it. I am having a good time, got through the first half quickly, and it's definitely a book that's going to make me hungry. So that's really all for thoughts right now. I'm gonna go play some fetch with Kylie, run off some of her energy, and then keep reading. Okay, this definitely had moments of making me feel hungry. So I am back with final thoughts. I was not expecting the direction this took in the second half, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. Now, to level set things a little bit or just give some indications, magical realism is a area of fiction that I'm less confident in terms of whether I'm going to like something or not. And I think here, overall, I did like the way the magical realism worked. I liked the discussions on grief and loss and so forth, and the relationship we get in here and the way that ties into things and the knowledge each of them have, even though they're not communicating necessarily with each other the way I would like them to. All of that I kind of liked. I'm not sure ultimately if the direction it took 100% made sense to me, but sometimes with magical realism I have to let go of some of my logic brain a little bit, and I think that's the case with this one. The kind of glimpses behind the veil, seeing these like tours and the discussions about the restaurant and this special ability and so forth were an interesting inclusion in here. I think it kept it a little bit lighter in places where things might have gotten more heavy, and I think I like the heavier parts better, the almost horror leaning parts in places. I like that part of it, and ultimately I think I like the book, but it didn't like blow me away the way I thought it might have gone going into it. So ultimately I'm landing on a 4-star with this one. I think I'm glad that I got to it. It's one that I've been meaning to get to. Obviously that's the point of this whole procrastination project. So it ended the things off on a bright note. Because I am in fact going to wrap us up here. I was thinking about trying to get one more book in, but I didn't really have 3 books come into my Libby holds, and that kind of solidified the fact that I should probably switch my focus over to arcs, because I realized I have 3 arcs coming out on Tuesday. It is currently Thursday and I haven't started reading any of them, and none of them are short. So I really probably should put some focus there. So I am going to wrap us up here. Let me know in the comments below, what is a meal that you think would be associated with you, that people think of when they think of you? That would be an interesting one. I'd be curious to hear your answers on that. I think for me, it would have to be eggplant parmesan. I think it's a family thing. It would connect me with a lot of relatives, and it's just something that I'm always looking for, a good eggplant parm. So that's something that would work for me. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Did you see any that I should have picked that I didn't? Let me know all the things, or let me know what's a book you've been putting off that you probably should be getting to. And if you made it this far and you don't have anything to comment, how about leaving me a food emoji? Because that definitely worked for this one, to let me know you were here. If you could hit that like button below, I would surely appreciate it. And subscribe if you're interested in more of my procrastination projects, more of my book reviews, and more of my bookish content in general. But for now, I'll leave you here and see you real soon in a new video.